Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. So I kind of want to title this video like effing Bitcoin because it is so volatile and like the trends change from one day to the next. Anyways, so basically what I posted yesterday about it's time to buy Bitcoin has completely changed to today. And now it's looking like a crash might be imminent. So I'm going to get into the technical part of it for you guys to kind of see where I'm coming from. But basically, I'm just going to say like flat out right now, be really careful. Bitcoin has been going up basically infinitely since March, you know? Coins need to retrace. Like that's part of the game. Like they go up, they need to come down. Since March, Bitcoin has not retraced like really at all, just like tiny little retracements. Is that enough to keep going up? Is it, like this market is very much driven by like human emotions and sentiments. If there's enough buy-in, could it go higher? Yes, potentially. Is there a risk that it's going to fall? Yes. Is there a risk that it's going to fall hard when it does fall? I think so. I think there's a potential that there could be, maybe not now. I mean, it might not happen right away. But eventually, sure, there's going to have to be a big retracement. Like this run can't keep going up like this. Okay. So let's get into the technical part of it.
Okay, so we're looking at the historical graph of Bitcoin, right? Again, this was the run that we had in 2017, 2018, and now we're here in 2021. Okay, so first I want to go back and look at this run back here, just so you guys kind of have something to compare this with. All right, so at all of the major points during this run in 2017, 2018, there were major retracements that occurred. All right, so what do I mean by major retracements? Basically, a major retracement is when the coin goes up. So this is Bitcoin, right? Bitcoin went up, 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 up. It flew up, and then it retraced. It came down. So there's a tool you guys can use to figure out how far a coin should retrace. Basically, if you grab your ruler measuring tape over here, put it on the lowest point, and then put it on the highest point. All right. By right, majority of coins will retrace exactly to the middle of this cross right here. So this is a great place to kind of look. Once it hits that, like, is it going back up or is it going to fall lower? If it hits this and it goes back up, then you're pretty safe to buy back in, okay? So Bitcoin did this many times throughout its run. All right, let's go to the next one. Here's the next one. Again, same thing. It retraced at least to this middle bar here, okay? And again, you see, I mean, basically it almost hit it again. All right. Then on its final run, Bitcoin just flew, right? And it never retraced. This is really dangerous when they fly like this and they never retrace. By the time it had retraced enough, like people were kind of scared to get back into the market. It came up a little bit, but not enough. All right. So that's why Bitcoin flatlined for such a long time. All right. So then we had this other mini run in 2019. Again, if you look at it, same thing, right? It retraces. Like that's what the coins need to do. They need to retrace. All right. So from here, it goes up, it retraced again, hit that halfway point, right? Like to the middle of that cross, almost perfectly. And then it was able to go back up higher. All right. So if we look at, now I want to take you guys to where we are today. So basically, the run that we're in right now, it began in March, okay? This was when the last dip happened from the last run when Bitcoin hit like around 4,000. Since then, if you notice, it has been going up like almost infinitely, and it has not retraced. Like has never been a moment where it has gone up and it's come down and hit the middle of that cross, okay? Like it's never happened. Not even in the beginning. Like Even in the beginning, there was not a time where it came down and hit that. Nothing. So what does that mean? It means at some point, Bitcoin does have to come down, and it's got to retrace fully in order for it to be able to go up higher, okay? So like here, this little bit here, like it came down, it retraced some, and it was able to go up higher. But you see almost here, like it's almost like it's being stagnated, like it can't get up any higher. And if you notice, like it's starting to curve down, like here, there's almost like a curve where down. What does that mean? It could fall and it could retrace a lot. So what it would look like for it to retrace this entire run since March, so if it were to retrace the entire run since March, that would put us around 35K that Bitcoin would need to retrace to. Now, it doesn't have to retrace the entire run in order to go higher. Since March, Bitcoin was within this trend line, okay? And then it broke out of the trend line. So basically, it would need to retrace from this point, from the 8th of October, in order to have a full retracement of this run. So what would that mean? Take from the 8th of October until the top, right? That would mean that Bitcoin would need to retrace. Complete retrace would be to 37, 38K, okay? So that's our kind of number to think about. Now, I have some lines on here that I've drawn, some trend lines, okay? Basically, right, this was the line that I was telling you guys about. So this is, I've marked it here in orange at 37, 38K. All right. This is Bitcoin's kind of new trend line that it has been in. And it tried to break out of it a couple times. It failed. It broke out again. It failed. And then now it's fallen negative. So what I've learned is that whatever your supporting line is, okay, if Bitcoin or any coin, this applies for all the altcoins also, but if your supporting line breaks, then most often than not, then the coin needs to retrace at least from the beginning of that supporting line. So from the beginning of this black line up to its peak, which was here, it would need to retrace down to here at about 41K. Okay. So why do I think it's going to fall now? All right, because in the last video I told you that we started to have positive on the daily, right? We have basically the second derivative of the line here is positive, and the first derivative is positive here. Okay. So it still has the potential to go up. It could potentially keep going up, like, and it might not crash right now. But if we look at the 4 hour, right, the 4 hour is kind of where you can see, like, when crashes, if crashes are going to happen, you're going to see them on the 4 hour time frame. Okay. So like this last major crash that we had, this was when Bitcoin kind of went negative on the 4 hour time frame. Like if we just look at let's just look at the first derivative. I'm gonna turn this one off. So basically here, right, that's when the crash happened. So the last bar here, it just closed negative on the 4 hour. And then the second derivative has been negative for a long time. So whenever you see this, like the second derivative has been red for a long time, it's pretty indicative that this one is soon going to follow. And whenever they're both negative, the coin will go down. The question is how far down is it going to fall? So is this just going to be like a minor retracement, or are we going to get our major retracement this time? That I can't tell you guys. All I can tell you is to be careful right now. All right, so what would a minor retracement look like? A minor retracement would mean that just this little run since the last crash on the 25th of April up to here, all right? It would just mean that we would need to retrace to about right here. So let me mark that one for you guys. So that's about 52K, right? So at 53, 52K, if we find some support there, or even if we find some support on this black line again, then Bitcoin could potentially go back up if these flip back positive, the 4 hour derivatives of the line. Okay. Now, The problem is that if this black trend line doesn't hold, right? Because our retracement here is below the black line, like our complete retracement. If this black line doesn't hold, then we could be looking at this is now when Bitcoin is going to fall the rest of the way, when it's going to hit 41K, when it could potentially hit 38K, or even 34. Not likely, but I mean, the potential's there. So I just want to let you guys know what's going on so that you guys can be careful at this time. As I said before, like Bitcoin has not retraced since March. You know, that's over a year that it's been going up infinitely. Yeah, since March of 2020. So is now the time for the retracement to happen so that it could go up higher? Potentially. I'll keep you guys posted, but like right now, because this has closed negative on the 4-hour and for both the first and the second derivative, like it is going to fall. Is it just going to be a small fall? Let's see. Or is it going to be a massive fall? I would say make sure you put stop losses on all of your coins. If you're still holding stuff, put stop losses on now, take profits now. Yeah, because whether it's just a simple retrace, you can buy back in later, or when it's done. But if it's a big fall, you don't want to be holding your coins, because basically what's going to happen is if Bitcoin does fall down to 41K to 38K, like everything is going to crash with it. The whole market is going to crash. It doesn't matter if you're in an altcoin, doesn't matter if you're in Bitcoin, everything is going to crash with Bitcoin. Okay. So yes, I'd say put your stop losses on now, and let's just see. Let's see what Bitcoin's going to do. If this trend reverses, which is also possible, like as I said, this market is based on human emotions. There is a chance, yes, that we could just keep going up. So once this flips back positive, if when that happens, we are still on our daily, if this is still green, you know, like if this is still positive on the daily, when the 4 hours flips back positive, then yes, we can keep going up. The other thing I wanted to show you guys that's a little concerning is this is a weekly chart. Let me just remove these lines. So this is a weekly chart of Bitcoin. So here, all right, this is like been since our March, right? It's just been going up, and it's been positive on the weekly for like the whole time. But you see here, this second the second derivative here is negative. So earlier when I had posted the Bitcoin video yesterday, this had actually flipped green on the second derivative, meaning that it didn't matter that it had fallen, like there was enough buy-in into the market that we're going to keep going up. But the fact that it hasn't closed green, that's very it's like a warning sign. Because if on the weekly we're negative, then that means that yeah, we're probably going to see a retracement before Bitcoin can go back up.
So just a final thought. I just want to tell you guys, like when you're playing with cryptocurrencies, whatever, always be sure that you're not playing with more than you're willing to lose. Okay. So this is like the biggest kind of rule. Don't mortgage your house out. Don't take a loan out. Like, unless you're willing to lose 100% of what you're willing to play with, don't play, you know? If you have $100 you're willing to lose, then sure, play with that $100. If you have $1,000 you're willing to use, play with that $1,000. If you have $10,000 you're willing to lose, play with that. But set your own risk threshold, okay? All right, so that's all for me today. If you guys like the content, please be sure to hit that like button and subscribe, and I will see you guys soon.